Today, I want to talk to you about the 5 stages of financial independence. When you hear the phrase financial independence, you might think of someone who has millions of dollars set aside and sips pina coladas on the beach all day. But that's not true. There are actually multiple definitions of financial independence. When I was still climbing my way out of debt, my definition of financial independence was really simple. It meant not having a monthly payment anymore. But now that I'm finally debt-free, which by the way, I talk more about in this video right here, I've been reflecting a lot on how I'm going to define financial independence going forwards. That's when I realized that financial independence is a journey that actually happens gradually over multiple stages. Sometimes you'll have to spend years and years at each stage, but once you pass the first stage, you move on to the next, and then you just keep going until you become totally financially free. And over time, your definition of financial independence is going to evolve. So without further ado, here are what I think are the 5 stages of financial independence. The first stage of financial independence is survival. In this stage, you make enough money to cover your own bills, but you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're not really saving enough or able to get ahead. You have enough to live on, but you're very dependent on your job because you don't have any cushion. So if you don't get paid, you don't eat. What's very typical of people in this stage is that they have a very negative net worth, meaning you don't have anything in your asset column, so 0 savings and investments, and you may have a lot of liabilities: personal loans, student loans, credit cards, car loans, etc. Your cash flow is tight and it's only enough to pay the minimums on your debt, which means your debt is going down very slowly, if at all, and you're not able to save or invest towards your future. When you have no assets and a lot of liabilities, that means you have a negative net worth. This is very common when you first graduate college. Like, you get an entry-level job, you probably have a lot of student loans, not a lot of money saved up. So this is a very typical first stage for young people just starting out. The only way to get past this first stage is to find a way to create surplus in your budget. That way you have something to work with in order to increase your net worth. So if you're in this stage and you want to advance, you have to find a way to either increase your income and or decrease your expenses. You can increase your income by getting a side hustle, getting a pay raise, or just simply working more hours. And you can decrease your expenses by moving to a cheaper place, eating out less, even moving in with your parents if you really want to go extreme. So things like that. Most people are able to get beyond the first stage just by reviewing their budget and being a little more intentional with their spending. Of course, if you've already cut your expenses to the bone and you're still stuck at this stage, then your only option is to look for ways to make more money. Check out this video right here for some ideas on how you can create an extra side income working from home. Once you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck and you have a surplus of money every month after you pay your living expenses, you have reached the second stage of financial independence: progress. If you're at this stage, you are already ahead of the 78% of Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck. At the progress stage, you're able to save money every month and or pay more than the minimums on your debt. So your assets are going up as a result and your liabilities are going down, meaning your net worth is improving. When your net worth is going up, that is a clear financial indicator that you're moving in the right direction and that you're actually making progress instead of running in place and having nothing to show for all your hard work at the end of every month. Typically in the progress stage, your net worth is slightly negative or close to 0. You've got some assets in your asset column, maybe 1,000 in your savings account, 5,000 in your 401k, stuff like that. And you've still got liabilities like student loans, car loans, things like that. However, they're going down quickly because you're making extra payments towards your debt every month. At this point, if you lost your job or you had to stop working, you would be financially independent for at least a month or even more because you could live off your assets for a while. This is a good place to be. Now, the third stage of financial independence is debt-free. I reached this stage not too long ago and it feels amazing. To get to this stage, you've been diligent about creating a surplus in your budget and using all of that to make extra payments towards your debt. In this debt-free stage, your net worth has finally become positive. You have 0 liabilities because it's all paid off, and you may have some assets in your savings and investment accounts. Also, as a side note, I wouldn't count your mortgage as debt because it's offset by the value of your home. Meaning, if you sold your home today, you could pay off your mortgage and have some money left over. So when I say debt-free, I'm talking consumer debt, the kind that isn't offset by a corresponding asset that would be enough to pay off all of that debt. So I'm talking student loans, credit cards, things like that. In this stage, since you no longer have monthly payments, you have a ton of free cash flow to save and invest. It is a really great place to be because once you're debt-free, your net worth can grow really fast. Before reaching this stage, I always felt like this bird that was trying to fly but had ankle weights just keeping me to the ground. And now that I no longer have debt, I have all this extra cash flow to really pursue my financial goals, and I feel like I'm ready to soar. After this debt-free stage comes the fourth stage of financial independence, which is growth. By this stage, you've accumulated a lot in savings and investments, and because you don't have debt and your monthly cash flow is more than enough for your living expenses, you are able to keep adding to your savings and investments on an ongoing basis. If you're in this stage, you have a high positive net worth, meaning lots of assets, maybe $15,000 in savings, $60,000 in your 401k, $20,000 in a Roth IRA, and so on and so forth. And you don't have any liabilities unless it's a home, which means it's directly offset by the value of your home. You also have a full-sized emergency fund with anywhere from 3 to 8 months of living expenses set aside. You also have investments in stocks, bonds, real estate, and these investments are constantly growing and throwing off passive income. This passive income, which comes in the form of rental income, dividends, interest income, just go back to buy more and more of those assets so that you just keep getting richer without actually doing any more work. The growth stage is where I'm currently at, and it feels really awesome. It is amazing how much faster your net worth grows and how much easier it gets once you don't have any debt tying you down. And now for the fifth and final stage of financial independence. Freedom. This is when your finances are so solid that you could quit your job today and never worry about money again. In the freedom stage, you have enough in savings and investments that you could live off of this investment income for the rest of your life if you wanted to. In the freedom stage, your net worth is very high and very positive. You have a large amount of money in your 401k, a lot in your IRA, HSA, and even a lot in your taxable brokerage accounts. Even though most people think you have to wait until you're 65 years old or just really old to get here, that is not true. You can get to this fifth stage of financial independence much sooner than that. And that's certainly what I'm planning on doing. That's what the whole FIRE movement is all about. Financial independence might seem like this unattainable dream that could never happen to you, but I'm here to tell you that it is doable. As long as you set financial goals for yourself and you keep your expenses down, increase your income, get out of debt, and save and invest as much as possible, you can and will move through each of these 5 stages of financial independence. Doesn't matter how long it takes, all it matters is that you're moving in the right direction and going from one stage to another. What you don't want is to stay stuck in that first stage forever. Doesn't matter where you are now, what matters is that you advance. Personally, there was a time when I never thought I would get past that first stage of survival. I was living paycheck to paycheck, in tons of debt, huge monthly payments, and at the time, financial independence to me just meant not overdrafting my checking account until the next payday. One day, I got fed up with living that way, and that's when I made a plan to get out of debt, make a budget, and start investing so that I could upgrade my definition of financial independence. That's when I got out of that first stage and got to the second stage. And now I'm at the fourth stage. I really never could have dreamed that it would have happened in just 6 years. So whichever stage you're at right now, don't judge yourself for being there. Doesn't matter how old you are. Just make a plan for how you're going to advance to a higher level of financial independence. And just do it one step at a time. As long as you keep going, you will reach that ultimate dream of financial independence. That's it for today. Pretty short video today. I just wanted to summarize the 5 stages of financial independence to help you assess where you're at and to aspire as to where you want to go further along in your financial journey. If you had any light bulb moments from this video, share it in the comments because I'd love to hear. I post new videos every Wednesday that will increase your financial literacy and empower you to create a life on your terms. So be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Bye!